Okay, I think we are live. Why is it still on that picture? Okay, here we go. Rhonda's just about to come in. For some reason, it's showing this as a still.
Hi, Agathe.
Hi.
Do you need to, what's the video thing you have to do to make my screen show me?
Hold on a second. Yeah.
Yes.
Yay!
Good morning.
Here we go. It worked.
You are so much calmer than I am.
Oh, really?
Pushing buttons and messaging you, and I can't see it. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, no. So I'm just getting a weird echo, actually, Rhonda. Just give me a second because I can hear like I wonder if I can, if we might have the echo. Shoot. Can you hear the echo? Are you okay?
I don't hear an echo.
We've done it. We are live. We are live on Facebook. And we're doing it through Zoom and it worked. Yay. Can you hear that echo or no?
I don't know.
Fantastic. Anyways, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much, Rhonda. We've got it.
I love your perseverance. I just adore how you keep trying until you figure it out every single time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's get started. So today we're going to just start. Sorry, the echo is so bad. It's what we just said. It's coming back. Let me just see if I can adjust it in any way. Yes. Great. There we go. Hopefully that won't change anything for all the viewers. But I silenced the video. Sorry, Rhonda.
It's okay.
There we go. Okay, here we go. So I was hearing everything that we were saying about a lag. So then you started saying something and I could hear myself go through it. All right, so welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with everybody here on the Fueled Facebook page and for sharing with us your experience of working one-on-one with me. And I've let them know that we've been working together since December. And so it's been about 7 months now, just over half a year. And so, so Rhonda works one-on-one with me. She started one-on-one sessions, and I believe it was weekly at first. Was it weekly?
It was weekly when we started. It was just before Christmas. So we left it for January to coincide with starting the Determined to Detox. It just made sense. Christmas is a horrible time for anybody trying to make any changes. So it just made sense to just hold on, keep treading water, and start with the new year is your new intention, a new focus, and learning about Fueled and what that meant. So we had actually met back in 2020 when you did an Ayurveda course on Zoom, when Zoom was brand new for everybody. And that's when I first met you and first got introduced to Zoom. And then from Facebook, I was able to connect with you to see about nutrition coaching because of where I was at that back in December.
Gotcha. I think you make a really good point in terms of being really ready when you know that Christmas and December isn't the best time to start something, to start fresh and know, you know what, January is going to be really great. It's a great kickoff time. It's a great time to start. So I honor you for thinking about that and thinking that through. And yeah, I did do an Ayurveda retreat, another retreat. I did retreats as well, but it was online on Zoom. And I remember when we met that first time. And so that would have been, a whole year prior. And sometimes it takes some time, doesn't it? To sort of decide or realize that this is something that is a good time for me in my life.
It does. And also real life can interfere. You could have the best intentions, but 2020, I think everybody can say is a year nobody wants to ever live through again. It had lots of challenges. It had lots of loss. It had just so much that nobody knew what to do or how to navigate. I think that the whole pandemic helped to force out issues that people may have been managing, and then it forced everything to the front. It made you have to deal with it. I know it made me have to deal with it. When we look back at my health record, this was all just building up. And by the time I reached out to you, I was at my worst. And you don't know it when you're in it, but I can sit here today and look back and realize how far I've come. Look, I mean, I wish we had a before picture. When I was talking to you, remember how swollen my face was? I couldn't fit glasses on my face because my face was so swollen. That in itself is a huge change, but you need to get to a place, and everybody's place is different before you can make your way out of it. And that looks different to different people. But I've learned over the past 7 months, it literally comes down to common sense, basic approaches. It's when you get rid of all of the stuff. And for me, it's all of those fads and misinformation from over the years. You know, we were talking about that. No, it's drink vinegar and eat a hard-boiled egg, and that's your diet. Or there was a really, really weird one we were talking about. I can't remember now, but these fad things that you have to do this and you have to lose 25 pounds in a week. That's impossible and that's dangerous. But how do you do this? What do you do? Obviously, what I'm doing is not working. I had a whole bunch of overlying health issues that we were discovering at the same time. But now that I look back, I could not have made these changes without someone who could see the bigger picture. I was so blinded by, I couldn't see outside of where I was, literally as well, because my face was so swollen, I couldn't see much, but I couldn't see to get out of it. I couldn't see I didn't know what to do anymore. And I was just looping into a circle of, this doesn't work. This is just, it's depressing, and it scared the living daylights out of me. Originally, some of the health, the first lot of tests started looking at lupus was one of it might be lupus. Well, can we find out for sure, please? And just getting stuck in test after test after antibiotic after prednisone. Steroids are wonderful. And we were getting to the point where only the symptoms were being treated, the underlying issues weren't. And you helped focus that, forget the other stuff, and you didn't lead me. You didn't go, you're going to do this and you're going to do that and you're going to drink this and you didn't do any of that. You just started clearing the path for me. So all of the stuff and all of the noise, you just moved out of the way and went, try this, tell me about what you're doing, tell me about what you're eating, show you pictures. That is hands down the greatest part of your fueled program, because I make my plate, I take a picture of it, I send it to you, and I describe it. But what that did is it made me focus on my food and take pride in what I was presenting. Remember, there'd be pictures with nasturtiums or what was it, freesias. I'd have little bottles of freesias and a picture of my smoothie, and it was all color coordinated. I had fun with it, and I hadn't done that. It made me slow down and pay attention to what food I was consuming. And the double-edged sword for me was, we also, after December, when all the test results came back, I came to you an absolute anxious, depressed, overwhelmed, scared, in pain. I presented you this mess of a human that I was in tears because I thought, I'll never be able to do this, and you're going to kick me out of the program, and I can't fill out the form. It was just,
you guys, it's so
horrible.
true. Like Rhonda,
really,
she really, so this is actually one of the, really big questions at the beginning I wanted to ask her was, tell me, what was going on for you before we started working together. And she is not exaggerating with what she's saying. She was really, really thinking that I was not going to take her on as a client, or that I would fire her as a client, or that something would go, wrong. She was really, there was definitely a state of depression and anxiety and concern about her health, and symptoms were just bubbling up and over, and it was overwhelmed. It was overwhelmed. So if you are feeling like you would like to lose some weight and have some energy, you're in a better space wherever you are in that space than I feel that Rhonda was in the beginning. So if you think, oh, I can't do this, I can't do them, I'm so overwhelmed. This lady, she was so overwhelmed. Rhonda, you were so overwhelmed. You were so concerned. She emailed me back. She couldn't fill out the forms, the intake forms. And she really emailed me for real. She said, or was it over? Did you tell me when we were speaking, or,
we were speaking?
We were speaking. Yeah. So somewhere in the contract prior to us working together, it says that, I have the right to, she has the right to stop, and I have the right to stop if our, if our progress, if our sessions, aren't, how is the wording? I basically have the right to stop the sessions if I feel it's in the best interest of everybody. And she saw that as, oh no, she's going to just like leave me in the dust or something. And of course not. Yeah, but really, yeah, you were very overwhelmed. Very overwhelmed. Yeah.
Definitely. And then I came to you with, here's a list of foods I can no longer eat. And though that just pulled the rug out from under me. I'm Portuguese and English heritage, and I'm looking at all of the things I cannot eat, and that's all I was focused on. I can no longer eat. Lactose intolerant, like horribly. That was the worst allergy response, and that's milk and cheese and everything. What am I going to do? Tomatoes. Avocados, bananas. And I could not believe that I couldn't do. How am I going to cook? And all I could think of was all of the things I cannot do. I walked into the grocery store, burst into tears, and left without buying any groceries the very, very first time. I did not know where to start. And it felt like I was just on this merry-go-round, and it wasn't a fun one. It was not a fun ride. And I need to get control of this, because literally things that I eat could kill me. And I was not over exaggerating, at the point that the doctor sent me home with an EpiPen and said, the next time you have this grade of allergic reaction, somebody needs to stab you and you need to go to the hospital. And that just shut me down. I did not know what to do. So I came to you. I came to you not I needed to lose weight, definitely overweight, because the anxiety and the stress and the alcohol over Christmas did not help.
But it wasn't top priority. Your top priority was all these allergies, everything you could no longer eat. She had come back with medical issues and allergies and severe reactions to the allergy food. It wasn't just an intolerance where, you can sort of tolerate it a little. It was an EpiPen. Here you go. Someone's got to stab you with this. So
yes,
it was a lot. And Rhonda, it hadn't started just with one thing. It had been sort of a snowball for the past, I think, year, at least a year prior to that, until you decided, I'm just going to get help with this.
Yes.
And yeah. And that happens to people sometime, so if someone's out there and they feel like I'm they're not sure, but things are, they're not sure about making that decision. They're sort of on a fence about it. And, they already have so many things and they're feeling overwhelmed. I think it's one of those things to know that that could be a really normal reaction, that you do feel overwhelmed when you get started with something that's a new program. And like Rhonda wasn't ready to overhaul her life in any way that would have been too overwhelming. And, and that's not a good idea really for anybody, as a complete overhaul. So we'll talk in a bit about what it was like throughout the program, but just want to speak to that level of overwhelm, the medical issues. And, weight loss is something for a lot of people, but for her, it was actually first getting herself really healthy and navigating the nutrition that you could eat and that would be good for your body. Right.
Yes. And that your focus with me was backing up what I was doing. So, and we had a joke about, here's a picture of my food. The chocolate cake is in the corner. You can't see it. And, and that became our fun joke that, the chocolate cake's over on the side. But
she started sending these beautiful food photos, and, just to show it, was instead of doing a journal where you write things down, on the one-on-one, I prefer to be sent photographs. So then I can see where, what everything is, the colors on the plate, the portions on the plate, in the drink, and so, like Rhonda was saying, she started to make it actually very beautiful. So I'd get these beautiful photos with and she has a garden and all of that. And so they're beautiful photos. And and I did it for a check-in. And so that I have my finger on the pulse of what's going on with you in between sessions, and I think for you, it actually brought even more healing and taking care of yourself and seeing what it is that you're eating.
And it was not a single approach. The fueled eating, looking at that and just taking that, the pyramid approach, which I've seen before and I've understood before, going through that step by step as a start helped me to focus. It almost became the focus. I can look at this pyramid and actually focus this. And I go to the store with my sheet of paper and start, no, let me get this. Let me look at this. I've got something red. Let me get another thing that's green. There's something orange and purple, and getting different colors and making sure every time I would add something new, not necessarily that I'd never had before, because that I had to be careful with, but like Brussels sprouts were in season, sweet potatoes. So I'd make sure those were part of my weekly shopping. Whatever was in season started to become a focus, and then putting it together. And you would look at it and go, and this is how I cooked it. My base is olive oil. I did everything in olive oil. You're like, can you try to switch that out with coconut oil? And I got the lesson in our one-on-one. I got the lesson as to why I would use coconut oil over olive oil, still using olive oil in my dressings. And you explained why. So I'm learning as I'm going. And the cool thing about the pyramid system is, as you use it and each week you get used to doing something else, you've now set a base. And then the next week you get another level. And then the third week you're building your own pyramid to get yourself to a healthier space. But you would gently tell me, try this instead of that. Do this, maybe try adding more, your portion, maybe change your portion. The greatest change is switching my main meal to lunchtime. Mm-hmm. How do I do that, Agatha? I don't understand how to do that. How am I going to eat my main? Because I cook at night. Yeah. I have either a smoothie or, especially now it's hot, a light fruit or salad, and switch that main meal to lunchtime, because I also have to be careful of leftovers. I can't have anything after 2 days. So it's made me plan, prep, cook, and then have my bigger, heartier meals at lunch. When you sit with a lamb chop and rice and vegetables at lunchtime, and then in the evening it's a smoothie or a salad. So it was a big it was a big lifestyle change. My thing is dinner time, sit with the family and have dinner together.
And it was later. You used to have a late dinner before
yes,
sleep and all of
very
that.
late.
Very late, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And that was a big change. And so with your goals, it was so we talked about how you were in quite a you described yourself as being in quite of a mess or like very overwhelmed at the beginning, and your goals were to, what would you say the top 3 goals were?
In the beginning, it was not to die. That was the thing we focused on. But
She's not exaggerating, you guys. It was to not die. She really.
But that's the knee-jerk hot mess reaction. The goal was to change my eating style that was healthier, that would make me feel better, to just feel better and be better. Because all of this I was not a nice person to be around. I was not a happy person at all. And that took its toll on family, work, a lot of things. It just put a lot of pressure on a lot more, that ripple effect. It just kept going out further and further. Yeah. And everybody's got their own stuff. Everybody's got their own stuff. They don't, it's hard to take on other people's stuff.
Yeah. And this is not that Rhonda's somebody who's not a nice person to be around, but I'm telling you guys, she's lovely. When your physiology is suffering, when your body is in such a state of dis-ease and disorder, and when you have allergies to all the things that you feel like you've loved for your whole life, and you feel like you don't even know what you're going to be able to eat, and the weight's coming on, and all this different stuff, and you really feel like, oh my gosh, it's just getting worse. The depression sets in. You start to feel kind of hopeless in a way, and things, the medical this and that. So when you don't have your health, you almost have nothing. It's hard to enjoy family, to enjoy and be your really aligned, beautiful human self. Like, it's hard to be that, because when we don't have our health, it's really, really difficult. But we took those goals and we just put weight loss to the side, and we said, let's just get you healthy. Let's work with the allergies, right? So throughout in the beginning, it was, let's get her healthier, in a better state for her body. That was so important for me, is let's make sure she's better, in a better state in her body, and eating delicious foods while not eating any of those allergy triggers that could really set her off. And seriously, guys, her face would swell. It would swell so much. All the neck would swell, your face would swell, and you didn't like it. You couldn't see. There was so many different things that were like, really, it's so hard to be your best at work. It's so hard to be your best in your relationship. It's so hard to be your best in so many different areas, when it's really just hard to even wake up and get on your day yourself. So
and the disease and the disorder, when once I started to understand this and could look at it, and you go so inward, it gets heaped on you so much that you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You don't believe that this is going to get better and it's going to be okay. And it's almost, at some point, you have to hear that and go, okay, I'm going to take a step. I'm going to trust you, and I'm going to take a step. And that the energy that requires can sometimes be overwhelming as well. But at some point, I said to myself, what you're doing is not working. You need to find something else. I want to be healthy. I want to be healthy to when grandchildren start coming, that I can actually have energy to play with them. I want to be the happy part. I want to be able to go back and garden. I hadn't been able to do that. I had to remove myself from everything. And the focus was get healthier, which would make me happier. And if I'm happier, then that ripple effect now is a positive one. And then weight loss was so far down the line that we didn't even talk about it. I think I put my start weight, because I just had a checkup after going back on the third prescription, and my regular doctor, and I love my regular doctor, and she did everything she could based on what was happening to me at the time. Every time she was dealing with the reaction to what was happening. But we started with my start weight. We never talked about weight after that. Didn't even talk about weight after that. It was focusing on changing my diet, my food intake to make me healthier.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all. And I couldn't do all the things. And you gave me one thing to focus on: add more color to your food.
Yeah.
And that's, I can do that, Agatha. And I'd go to the store, I'm going to get another color, and I'm going to make that this week, and this is what I'm going to have. And it made me look at I would have to plan before I went to the grocery store. I would need to meal prep to have stuff ready to switch to eating at lunchtime. You can't go cook lamb chops and a pot of rice and vegetables, in a lunch hour. Changing for that. And then taking the time.
Second, just with what you said, one thing at a time, one step at a time. I would describe that as our journey together in so many ways, how Rhonda was able to, from the space that she was in, it was one thing at a time. And I can see that. That's why we didn't talk about weight loss. It was really less of a priority than actually building her health back up in the cells of her body to be healthy again and eliminating those trigger foods that are causing allergies. So the healthy aspect of it was, it was really like, we spoke in one session about not being, and I made it very positive about letting go what was not serving you in terms of those foods. And I never once get sucked into these people, to my clients, where someone is at, and you have every right to be and come as you are, but I need to be a leader, and that's how I show up. And it's not like a leader, like this is what you do, and da 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 da.
No.
Three things, and do this and slash that. It's not like that. It's show up and be an example, and tell them what could be, and teach what could be, and teach in the way everyone is different. And Rhonda, it was one thing this week, one thing next week, building on success one at a time, because it could all overwhelm her if it was two or three things in the beginning. Do you remember? Yeah, two or
yes.
three. Yes. I can't do all of that, but I can do one thing. She committed to herself to one thing, and where she was coming, one thing at a time, one step at a time. And you know what? 7 months later, and we'll get to where she is now. But you may think, oh, that's like if there's a tortoise and a hare, then that's definitely the tortoise going so slow but steady, and she's winning. Okay, she's winning. It's never meant to be in any way that you feel like it's a push. You want to develop that love and interest on the inside. And so one step at a time was really legitimately what she did. So for all of those high performance people who think they want to do everything all at once, and that may work for you to do 2 or 3 at a time, but everyone is different. And, success is more important than speed. And she still got speed. I'm telling you, she still got speed. Like, we'll talk about it in a second. But I loved it. One thing at a time. And she committed to herself in that way. And that's the biggest piece, because I didn't go and sort Rhonda's groceries and cook her food and, and take her for walks or anything like that. Like, I didn't do that. I am her coach, and we're co-creating her best health and her best future. And she did it one step at a time. Yeah. So I'm so proud of you. I really am.
Thank you.
I really am. I remember, because it wasn't too long ago when you felt this incredible overwhelm, and it was still unsure if it was lupus or what was going on with your body, and to have so many a variety of symptoms in different areas. It's a really hard thing to go through, and you had the strength and the love for yourself, and even underneath it all, when maybe you didn't even know it, and the commitment to you to help yourself get to a better place. And that's really, really, really beautiful. So it's just so great. It's so it's been such a pleasure, this journey. So those were her goals, literally to not die, to work through her food, and to get herself healthier, right? And then, so with your experience with me. We've spoken a little bit about that. I've asked for food photos. So I asked for this, and my WhatsApp is full of people's food photos. I love it. And what else did I want to say? So yeah, I don't do just anything else about your experience actually through the sessions. Like anything new. I know that I recommended a certain specialist to you because for things that are outside of my specialty, I always, yeah.
That I appreciate. If you didn't know, you would find out, but you said you didn't know and you would find out. You also would offer other, you are linked, you're not a doctor and you don't pretend to be a doctor, but you're linked and connected to so many variety of special. Sometimes you need that specialist that you may not have found yet. So, and it might not be a doctor, it could be a yoga instructor, it could be somebody for physiotherapy, it could be anything. I mean, I just found out about a clinic in Somerset, so I don't have to drive to town now to do my follow-up tests, which is brilliant. That's removed 10 times the anxiety that I was going through. But you helped me figure out what vitamins I needed, because I was stuck in why do you take those vitamins? You asked me, and I went, because I always have. And again, no judgment. Maybe that brand is, the supermarket brand, but maybe there's a better option for you. And maybe you don't need the multi, maybe you need specifics, which again, some of the tests gave us a lot of that information. Yeah. But you walk in and go, I need a multivitamin, and there's got to be 20 varieties. Well, yeah. Which one is actually the better one for me? Yeah. And with my allergies, finding out that milk is in so many things quietly sitting there. I could be taking this, and this could have been something that I was reacting to for years and didn't even realize it. Yeah. So fine-tuning other therapies that can help.
Yeah, supplements. And then we even, because Rhonda had anxiety over heading into town and going into the store and actually picking the supplements, and she went one time to the wrong place. I recommended, a vitamin place I think is excellent on island, and they're very friendly, and they know me, and they always welcome my clients. And she went to a different place, and they didn't know who I was, and it was all different. So I said,
had a very dissimilar experience.
It wasn't like the friendliest staff. So I said, let's take one of our sessions, and we met in town at the flagpole so that you didn't have to find the location just in case. And we met at the flagpole, and we walked in together, and we spent our hour in there, right? And actually the staff member there, her name is Renee, I'll just, give a shout out. It was at Rock on Front Street. I have been shopping there for 10 years, and they know me, and they know my business and all of that kind of stuff. I think they have excellent quality supplements. And so Renee gave us a tour, and she helped you especially, and you got to get to know who this person was and where your specific vitamins were, because after you got the additional blood work through the functional doctor, then you had a very good idea of where your vitamins, certain minerals especially, were a little bit too much or too little, right? So we knew exactly what we were going for now. And yeah, as well as further testing, we found out you didn't have lupus. So that was really great. Yeah. And so yeah, different things. So how did you tell everybody a little bit about that, about the time we went to the health food store?
The whole process of figuring out, you can go sideways very, very quickly just on a multivitamin by itself. But learning that speaking to somebody helped me a lot. Getting to know a person, I know a person's name now, so when I go there, I can ask for her. I know that she'll point me in the right direction. That helped a lot. I'm taking pictures of stuff. They were awesome about no, take a picture, and then the next time that you come in. And the coolest part was, you already have it, finish it. It's not doing you any harm, but if you want to upgrade this one or another product they would recommend, get a combination of vitamins. but try this. And they were out of stock for something. It was one of the medications the functional doctor needed me to be on, and they didn't have it, but they called me when they got it in, which was perfect. And other things, we don't have this, but you could try this. And just other brands of things, like a tea that I like. And I didn't know the tea came in other flavors, and they've got all of them. So that was nice. And it was a place I probably by myself would not have gone to, because I wouldn't have gone into town. I wouldn't have gone into a place. And my experience of doing that and being in the wrong place and getting the wrong supplement was, this one's spelled with a K. Is that right? No, that is not right. That is the wrong thing.
You know, and it wasn't like it was something that Rhonda was very curious about herself. You know, it was something she really realized, like, I want to make sure I'm taking the right amount and that I'm doing the right thing for myself. So it's not something that I say, you know, toss out everything you have. I don't know what you're doing with all of those things, and let's get the, you know, the most expensive brands. Or it's not like that. You know, Rhonda realized, you know, for my health, even though she's eating really well, and I'm seeing the pictures of it, right? I did have to ask her when she said about the chocolate cake. I said, Rhonda, can you just take the picture? She would take the picture kind of close in with her plate. And I just would like to see more, not for if she's sneaking anything, but if I said, can you pull up a little bit away from the plate so I can see? I would wanted to know more about like the scale, the scale of the plate, because it was so close up, right? So pull it back. And I said, can you pull back the photo? But I didn't say I needed the scale. She goes, I swear there's no chocolate cake in there. So that was really sweet. So even though you're eating very well and you're getting your whole foods, there are still things for the maintenance of your best health to take. And so we looked over some of those, and you were interested in those. And it culminated to a tour where we went together and navigate that area, because like you're saying, it can be confusing. There are things you may not realize, and all of that kind of stuff. So is there anything else from the coaching with me? We speak sometimes about you having a wellness team.
I did not understand that concept at first. And when we were waiting for the test results to come back, you said a couple of times, you have a team that is working with you and supporting you, and you're going to get through this. And I forgot to look at that. One of the most satisfying parts of this process with you is the backup that I've had. And it's been through Zoom meetings. Like, we met that one time in town. It's been through Zoom meetings, but the backup, because something would happen, I'd message you and you would keep track of it. And then you'd go, right, maybe it was this, or I see nothing in your food, call the doctor. So you helped back up some of the things I was trying to figure out. Like, this has happened. Why has this happened? Yeah. The team gets built by finding out about other things, other people, other therapies, whether it's going and speaking with somebody because your depression is so bad you can't leave the house, or you are just overwhelmed with everything, or I can't go into a class. I had to give up my exercise class. I couldn't go. I need to close contact and close spaces. I'm supposed to avoid that. So it's all about
by yourself.
Figuring out, well, then how do I do this by myself? At least the class got me going. So how do I do this? Finding a yoga class that's outside was, I didn't know where to start looking, because you start getting so introverted and turned in on yourself, you're not quite sure what to do. So finding this team of other people and building on that. And it is a health food store, and it is a grocery store that now when you go and ask, they'll tell you what's in it, because they know. Having these conversations, it's this connection that's being built that I felt alone. I didn't feel like I had anything. That's been a huge amount of support. Mm-hmm. To go back to your question about just the sessions with you, the thing that I now do is appreciate the process. I appreciate thinking about what I'm going to eat. I plan my meals. I go to the store, I take time and I look, because the store is the one place that once a week I do my grocery shop, and it's, you know, risk assessment. This is what I'm going to go and do. And I think about it and I honor the whole process of what I choose to purchase. I now to treat with respect, to give it for it to give me the best value, because this is what is sustaining me. This is what is making me healthier. This is building my immune system, which is lessening my fear of catching anything. So I would like to hug my kids.
Yeah.
I would like to actually spend time with my family. It's all from a distance at this moment in time. And that wears on you. So building this support team, but also slowing down to appreciate the whole process and stopping, taking that picture of that plate of food. It's like how we start sessions with the deep belly breathing, and it ends whatever you've done before then. It focuses you on, and then you move into your next, into the session, into your next step with focus and calmness.
Because this is time for you.
Yes, taking the time to take the picture and describe, this is, you know, you see a medley of vegetables, but I did it with coconut oil, and it was something picked from the garden that I used, and I put this together, and I liked my Agathe vegetable stir fry. It basically, what's at the end of the week that I need to actually move out of the fridge, make it into something so I don't lose it and waste the money, but I still get the nutritional value of it. And I always think of it as my Agathe stir fry, because it's whatever's there, I'm going to make the most out of it. Because to keep the fueled part, you have to use it and you have to eat it in time.
Someone once said, this is the drawer of good intentions. And I'm like, oh, they should work with me. It's an actual, you use it when you're with me.
Yes.
All those vegetables. Yeah. You don't waste them. Yeah.
So taking the time, appreciating it, and giving what you've done value, which you also do with the aha moments. I didn't get it at first. It was like, what the thing that I take from this session? I don't know. It's a lot of information, lady. Just let me go away. And then very early on, it was one bit, one bite, one day. And that became my mantra. That was one bit, stop, one bit. Okay, one bite, literally take a bite and then wait 20 minutes and make sure. And then one day. And then next week, when I come back to you, I've done this all week. I built on all of those steps, and the aha moment clicked in and made sense to me. And I remember sitting back and looking and going, is it really that simple? I feel like I'm a smart person, but really, have I missed it all of my life that it is that simple, one thing at a time? You can only do one thing at a time.
You can.
But the aha moments I love, because it makes me stop and breathe, because I worry that I hijack our sessions and go left, and you tell me, no, I don't. We got to talk about it all anyway. The aha moments make me stop and appreciate what we've talked about, which has been a week's worth of life, and remembering to honor everything that we do is a good thing, and respecting that, and being selfish is not a bad thing. That's a hard lesson as a woman, a mother, an older, my generation. You had to give and do and go till you dropped, and then get up and do it all over again. Taking care of myself has been part of this as well. Not ever fully understanding that was something I should do. So thank you to you for all of that.
Thank you. And that's, it's not selfish, it's really self-care, but it does feel selfish in the beginning, but selfish is actually a good thing. In this case, you're really focusing on yourself, self-focus, making sure you're thriving is so important. And I love that. So is it so simple? Sometimes people think it's going to be really complicated. Like, I'm going to sit here and talk to you about diets and macros and calories, and we're going to have to start to go in a calorie deficit, and you're going to have to do this, and we're going to have to, talk about all these allergies and all this kind of stuff. But it's really not even my mind space to bring any of that into a session. So I have my process, and it really is my process. And that's what I love about Rhonda, is that there came a point where she really started trusting the process, because
Yeah.
things were getting better. And so she thought, okay, I could see it in your eyes, we're on to something. Right? I mean, only one thing at a time, but we're on to something. And so that was really cool. So she was one bite, one step, one day. And 7 months later, and I just want to ask one more question about this. So I don't talk about diet. Diet isn't a word that I really use unless I'm doing some sort of a comparison, but not really. It's not, diets really doesn't come up. But I don't weigh people in, I don't ask for measurements. And that's really unconventional. I think that people expect to come to a nutrition coach or a nutrition expert or specialist and have themselves weighed in, and we're going to be taking all these stats about your measurements and all of this kind of stuff. And discussing diets and calories and things along those lines. But I don't do that. I really don't do that. I have my own process. I've developed it, myself. It's my intellectual property. It's 25 years of all of my knowledge and everything I've read my whole life and my studies and all this kind of stuff. I bring it in here. And what I love is that, people do say it's simple. Yeah. Were you surprised about not hearing the word diet or weigh in or anything like that? Or did you not?
I think my experience started off as slightly different, but at some point it was like, hang on a second, as a nutritionist, shouldn't she be asking me more about diet and what I'm going to do to lose weight? There was nothing about that. It was show me what you drink. What do you drink? How many glasses of water do you drink a day? Show me what you drink out of. Okay, cool. Try to drink another glass, another. Maybe increase your container a little bit. This is what I'd like you to go for in the beginning. I can drink water. That's easy. I could do that. And if you actually, start off with a bigger container, now you're not, did I drink 2 or 3, or is this my 5th? And just maybe pour it all out in one big jug. And now at the end of the day what you've drunk. Just try to drink a little bit more water a day. And it's not, you have to be in bed by 10 o'clock and turn everything off. Try to go to bed an hour earlier. Try to eat an hour earlier. Try something. And that was the steps, just moving things bit by bit. I could do the one step that I can do. And it was like a lifeline that.
And you did.
I can do that. And it's like, when I called you, as I sent you a voice note, I came from the doctor, and I went for a follow-up, and I asked her if she would weigh me. And she's like, yeah, I would like to weigh you because the change in you is incredible. And this is a brand new doctor that I've gone to. I've met her twice. Yeah. And I jumped on the scale, and she went, yeah, it was right before the June holiday. And she said, so I guess you're going to be at Carnival in your bikini. And it was the greatest, funniest joke. And I left, and I sent a voice note, Agatha, can you please look at the record? What was my start weight? And you're like, why? Because I just got weighed at the doctor. Yeah. And when nobody celebrated more than you did. Because it was.
Yeah. We hadn't talked about weight loss. And can I tell them the numbers? In June, yes. When you got weighed in? Yes. Okay, so in December, she was 230 pounds. And in June, without we didn't talk about weight loss. We just talked about getting healthier. June, from 230 to 201. Right? Yep. 201. Did I got that right? Yep. Yeah. She just weighed herself. That was the first time she weighed herself. Earlier she said, Agatha, my jacket fits really nice. Like about a month.
I zipped up my rain jacket.
Yeah, my rain jacket. Then I'm wearing a belt on my shorts or your pants or something. I'm wearing a belt now. She's just like really eager. She jumped on the scale at the doctor's, because I know you actually asked, right? Yeah. Yeah, I
asked her. And then when the doctor started pushing the little slide thing, the weight things, and she started pushing it that way, and I went, nobody's ever pushed it left. You went left. And she thought that was the best thing ever. Who goes left on a scale, right? And it was but I was at a place where I could actually feel that, because you didn't diet. You did not make my meals, put a fork to my face, and or jump in front of plates of food. You just opened a path for me to find it. And 7 months in, my whole, this is what's changed. My whole outlook on food. I now know when I'm triggered to eat something because something's up, because chips are the thing that I still have. Plain chips. I can have salted plain chips. I'm reaching for the bag and I'm pouring them into a container because that's my logic if I just have a container. And then I go, why am I eating these chips? And I go, oh, that's actually bothering me. Let me actually think about that and sort that out and put the chips away. I've never done that in my life. I've never looked at why I'm doing something. It's always 5 pounds later. I maybe shouldn't have done that.
It's horrible. That's so sweet. It's so true. And that's a lot of people. That's not just you. A lot of people. 5 pounds later, they're like, I shouldn't have done that. But now you lean in. I call it sort of leaning in, listening in. What's going on here? Tell me what's going on here. You know, is it something you need to sort out? Are you sleepy? Did you not get enough sleep and you're trying to make up for sleep? Is it what? Is it some kind of stressor? You know, yeah.
And until you build better lifestyles, and that might be the wrong way to say that. Here's my thought. So I realize now, because looking back, hindsight is 2020. You can look back and you can see the whole thing. When I realize I can catch it faster. When you're in that circle or cycle and don't know how to break it, and grabbing for chocolate was the thing, just getting a bar of chocolate, and good chocolate, very, very good chocolate, but it was still chocolate. And well, now there's only one piece left, so I might as well finish it. But why did I reach for the chocolate? Why did I feel like that was the thing? Why did I have it all? What is it that's the reason for it? And having the space and the trust to step back, but saying things out to you out loud, and you keeping that record, saw the pattern of how it was going. So it would be something at work. We figured out that I get triggered from my late night at work. So we finish around 9 o'clock at night, which is late for me. I'm supposed to have been winding down for 2 hours and I'm still going, and it'll be midnight and I'm still awake and I'm still eating. Okay, let's look at that all by itself. We can't avoid the late night work night, but I get a smoothie now and I have it ready. And it gives me, I'm not grabbing for something as soon as I log off. I'm prepared. So seeing it, adjusting to it, recognizing it, and not beating yourself up for it, because that's our human part.
Yeah. So would you say that you have developed a better relationship with yourself and a better understanding of your own habits and of your body?
Absolutely. And what I've also gained is, and this is a new aha, is I've gained the strength to not fall back into, I'm changing my patterns, because I'm trusting myself to work it through or think it through, or just to simply be aware. It's a crappy moment. I'm going to have, right now it's chips. I can't have the chocolate cake. I'm going to have some chips, but I'm going to enjoy them. And I'm going to be mindful that I'm eating them. That's the biggest change. I can now accept that what I'm eating because this is what I want to do. I'm choosing to do it. And then I don't eat a bag. I eat my cup and I'm, you know what? I'm okay now.
Yeah. Do I ever scold you for eating chips or French fries?
So you didn't know I was testing you when I sent you the picture of my dinner, which included French fries. And I said, it's French Fry Friday. And Kevin, my boyfriend, is like, are you going to show your nutritionist that you're eating French fries? Yes, because she can't help me if she doesn't know what I'm actually eating. Okay. And he's like, good on you. And pushed the whole plate of French fries. No, only half of mine.
The picture wasn't.
And I sent you a picture and I went, it's French Fry Friday. We're having burgers and chips. I had no bun. I just had my chicken burger and French fries. And you were like, ooh, French fries, they're my favorite too. And I swear to you, I was like, what the hell? And I showed it to Kevin. I went, so that's what you get for being honest with your nutritionist. And it's like, cool. So French Fry Friday became a thing because, I took it and pushed it to the extreme. And it was like, yeah, I don't want French fries. I want a salad now. It's crazy that, I really want a nice big salad with lots of stuff in it.
Yeah.
So no scolding.
No scolding.
And no, your tone is, oh, that looks really good. Maybe next time you could try, and you make a suggestion. I'm like, I never thought about that. Let me try that. Agatha, I tried that. That was really good. Turmeric, putting turmeric in stuff. Like that was, and winter cooking is definitely different from summer cooking, but trays of vegetables and seasoning with turmeric. Yeah.
No, it's
so
true.
No scolding.
To fall in love. Yeah. From someone who thought that her eating life was over. Like she really thought with these allergies, like it's just, what am I going to eat? I just love to cook. And this is like all my favorite foods and everything has to go and there's nothing to eat anymore.
Yeah.
Really risky to go from there. And now I see your pictures. And I remember the other day I said, no one would ever guess that you are on a healthy lifestyle because it's so delicious looking. Her vegetable stir fries, her meats, the way that she's selected with the meats. We talked about quality in the meats and all the different things that she's making and her smoothies and the rice dishes and all the different and everything that you have. And you swapped out and doing like a pumpkin almond flour muffins and these great recipes. Her photos, you would never guess. This is not a deprivation diet. It's not starvation. It's not, I'm missing things. I need a cheat day so bad. When you balance in those French fries and the occasional things that you mindfully are eating, right? And that you're not using it as a crutch so much as this is a part of my balanced life. And now it's time for some French fries. And I also, like I said, I also really enjoy French fries. I call it my 20%, 80%, 20%. And that's a piece of my life. It's a piece of my eating. My culinary landscape includes French fries. When I'm out, I don't really make them at home. And so, so it's just one of those things. Awesome. And I really remember the day, just speaking of where you are now, she's lost 30 pounds, probably more by now because that was June. And she's eating beautiful foods. Totally less overwhelmed. I would say percentage the times that I find you in an overwhelmed space now is so much less. Overall physical symptoms much lower. We were able to find out through the doctor that I referred you to, a functional doctor, what a underlying issue was in her physiology, and that doctor handled her tests through that, and then the resolution of it and stuff like that, and the process of how to clear your body of that. And then we worked together still on beautiful foods, less inflammation. The weight loss was amazing, getting outside, enjoying gardening. How do you work around mold allergies? We did all this kind of stuff. And I remember the day where you started glowing more and more and more and more over time. I could just see like this, oh, this glow. Look at this, it was kind of first a very swollen face that was kind of like, okay, I'm here. It hasn't been a good day, but I'm here, and I say, show up as you are. Come, don't be putting on any kind of a mask for me. Like, just come, because this is about you, right? So if you're showing up in some kind of fake thing, so you came as you were and you started to glow and glow and glow. And I remember one point, Rhonda was talking about this vision board and her plans for this and her plans for that. And it was just like the stress, the overwhelm, and the concern and the fear and the depression over health conditions had become so much less that you were able to dream again and desire again for different aspects of your life, because you are stuck when health isn't present, like fully in your body. You're stuck in concern, fear, worry, doctor's appointments you have anxiety about, and then stress when you leave, and all this different. And finally, we got to the point where she was excited about future things. And I remember that weight was lifted from you. It actually was physical weight was lifted from you too, but actually there was like an emotional and energetic weight lifted from you when that. Do you remember that session? And
Yep.
you were just, I was like, look at her in my head. I was like, look at her, so excited for this, thinking about that. This is this. Oh my gosh, this and all of this kind of stuff. And it was just some proof of coming from a healed space and a space of healing, what more we can bring to the world and to ourselves, and we find what we want. And you were just so much in alignment that it was so great. It was so great. It was a turning point for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think the losing weight, because it was not the focus, I was able to that weight, I can put that aside. That I don't even have to worry about that, because I feel like I've got all this other stuff to worry about. And I appreciate my circumstance is not the same as somebody else. But if there's one other person who's feeling that, and there are steps, and it can the feeling better, because now I could actually realize that I was feeling better. I had room for that. I'm actually feeling better. I've had a good day. I've had 2 days with no swelling. I've had a week. We had a celebration because I had a week where I had no physical reactions to anything. And then I went outside and was like, okay, well, that's over. So we'll start again slowly.
Celebrated. Yeah. We celebrate a lot. I find it's important for everything we do.
Yes.
Celebrate. Yeah.
Yes. But slowly and very completely, I was learning, without realizing it, to appreciate the things. Because if you only focus on, I'm overweight, I'm too heavy, well, you know what, I'm fat anyway, so I might as well just finish that last piece of cake, or I might as well finish the bag of chips. When you get into that point, you can't see anything else or hear anything else. It can be different. No, it can't. It can. So instead of, like I said, instead of being led down the path, just if you push that branch out of the way and I can see around the corner, you know what, I'm going to try to take a few steps. And all of those things happen. So all of a sudden, I feel a little better. That's because I'm eating better food. I'm eating better food. I'm actually trying to get rest. I'm definitely hydrated because I'm focusing, I'm making sure I'm drinking enough water. I'm making sure that I'm making better choices. I now have the mental capacity to think these things through, whereas I was so tired and overwhelmed before. I'm not as tired. I'm not, the inflammation just in my joints is so much better. I can actually move. Now that I'm moving, I'm actually helping to lose weight. Now that I've lost weight, I can move more. and it's just building on, and it's been a journey. It didn't happen overnight, and it's been a journey, but it's setting this as my lifestyle now. This is the biggest, most important change for me. All of the good things, but this is setting my lifestyle. When I look back at other things I've tried, it was, okay, well, you are getting married, so you diet like crazy to fit into the dress. It's not that crazy. It's not those, I need to do this because I need to drop 5 pounds because, and when you're in your 20s, you can drop 5 pounds without even thinking about it. But when you get into your 50s, it doesn't happen. And you go, why is my body betraying me? But the lifestyle change.
Your body did not betray you though. Yeah. Yeah. When you really show up for yourself and feed it those beautiful, delicious foods, it actually shows up for you. And that 30 pounds, you have to say that was kind of effortless. Like, in a way, like, not that, I mean, nothing
stressless.
Effortless. It was stressless, because it wasn't even the main point. It was really getting you healthy. Yeah. So the body in the 50s really showed up. It just released a lot of that. Yeah. With everything you were doing. Yeah. Stressless. Yeah. Okay. Let me just think of my last question here. So, and just going back to just one more point, was that feeling of being alone in the beginning and having a team and support. I think that that's really huge. I think a lot of people feel very alone at the beginning, and actually, I know people feel very alone at the beginning, and they don't realize the amount of support that, um, you know, I can hold space for you wherever you are. And that's the first point of support on a weekly or biweekly basis. And then I'm listening in and hearing, is there someone else who can support this person that I can recommend? Is there something that's, and then your team may grow and it may grow. And I know that she has actually a partner who's really a great part of her wellness team too. And, so this kind of thing, it just starts to build around you. It's almost like you start attracting this wellness team and you feel supported versus alone. And I think that that's a game changer for people, to feel supported and feel like you have a team instead of feeling alone and like you have to do it all yourself and you've got to figure it out yourself and you've got to carry this load yourself and you've got to, I don't know that's going to give you the results. I certainly believe that when you feel supported and you have the right person co-creating your healthiest future with you, can really 10 times your results and even your happiness, and I don't know that doing it alone and having that sort of like, I've got this or whatever, machismo or whatever is really the best space to be in. I do feel that yeah.
So sideways on that is the benefit that I never even thought of because I was so blind, like blinkered and self, just worried about myself, is my partner has picked up on some of the changed habits, the eating earlier. He's getting behind that. You know what? I feel like I'm an 8, so I'm going to stop eating now because that's full enough. I don't want to be over full. The aha moment where this is a delicious meal and I really, really enjoy it, but I'm getting full. I'm getting to an 8. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I want to be comfortable. So I can wrap this up and have this delicious meal again tomorrow and not have to cook it. Like, that's brilliant. And aha. And he's now saying the same thing, which is really cool. So that's like the trickle down effect is not, we haven't even figured that part out, right? But to go back to your wellness team, it also isn't necessarily an appointment you need to make with somebody or cost you any money, because when we got the diagnosis for what I have, which is SIBO, what the hell is this? Now I'm trying to figure out what this is. And you just very calmly went, hold on a second, and went to your library of information and contacts and went, right, I'm going to send you a link. There's all the information. And because we had an idea of what it was, we thought it might be leaky gut. We had started adjusting my diet. So I had already started eating gluten-free, which was a whole thing for me. So to make that reality, Portuguese heritage, at Christmas, when I did not make Portuguese and English, so did not make my fruit cakes, but I've got 15 pounds of fruit soaking in rum in the kitchen. I did not make freem pie. I make the freem pie for my family every Christmas. I had to tell every single one of them, I can't do this year. I don't even want to touch butter. I cannot make this year. I didn't make my cookies that I always make at Christmas time that everybody looks for. And then it rolled into, when my kids go, hey, could we make macaroni and cheese? Could you make your gingerbread or your banana bread? I can't touch bananas. So no, I can't make. I felt like I'd failed because this is how I showed my family love. I fed them. And that was, I felt like just taken from me. So, well, Agatha said, look, here's a website. You sent me to a website. And then they had all of these recipes. Almond flour. I don't know how to cook with almond flour. What is coconut flour? This doesn't make any sense to me. Coconut oil is hard at room temperature. How am I supposed to measure out a quarter cup? And I was angry. I was just frustrated and angry and then I looked at this recipe and it was a pumpkin bread. And I went, I don't want bread, I want muffins, because I want to be able to grab something if I want to eat it. If I can, because my knee jerk, I'm going to grab it and eat it. muffins I could do. But if I freeze them, I can't eat them right away. I actually have to thaw them. So there was my, I'm going to think about this, right? So I'm starting to make the changes. Took this recipe, focused on this recipe. I've got to go buy almond flour and coconut flour, and I'm grumbling in the kitchen. And I make these pumpkin muffins, and I'm looking at them, and I take one, and it was like, oh my God, these are really good. So the next thing was pancakes. We want a Sunday breakfast. Our thing is to treat ourselves to Sunday breakfast. Pancakes. Well, I cannot have pancakes. And I found an almond flour recipe for pancakes, and I made them. And I sat down and I intentionally ate them. And my partner sitting next to me, and he's like, so how are they? And I went, they're not like my pancakes. And I made pancakes from scratch, buttermilk and everything, right? They're good. They're not what I'm used to, but these are good. Now I got blueberry pancakes. I'm making cranberry muffins. I've got sweet potato to try a sweet potato. It reinvigorated. And you said to me, I can still be the person who cooks for my family and shows them my love with baked goods, but maybe I'm just making them healthier, and we'll make new traditions moving forward. And I thought, oh, I could do that. So I made a batch of pumpkin muffins. My son happens to stop by, and when he stops by, he stays outside, and I threw him pumpkin muffins. He calls me the next day and says, those are really good. When you make them again, could you make some more for me? And I'm like, yes, I can cook with love again. And I fought the change because the change was super, super terrifying.
Yeah.
And who knew coconut flour and almond flour could make a difference, right?
Yeah, I knew. I knew. But I get it. A lot of people are coming with traditions that they have had and they've carried on, and it's in their culture and all of this kind of stuff. And that shift, it's not an easy shift to make.
No.
But when you taste it and it's delicious, and you had that recipe that was yummy, and you sent me the pictures, I'm threatening to come over to your house to try these pumpkin muffins, because I love almond flour baked goods. I do my carrot cake with that anyway. So yeah, when you taste it, you're like, hey, this is good. And that's the fuel thing. It's leveling up recipes so that you have health and deliciousness, and that you don't have to necessarily give things up, but that you get the chance to make it yummy. Start new traditions. How about that, right?
Yeah.
Still keep the essence of being that mom who cooks for, you've got this beautiful family, and you want to make sure that's something you've done out of love, is cook these delicious things. And now, just like you said, you can have new traditions, and they're going to be healthier recipes and healthier sweets and all of that.
Now is no longer about what I cannot have. Now is about what can I do with all of the things I can have.
Yeah.
I had pizza for the first time since last year, and pasta. Yeah. I branched out. I felt comfortable enough to start bringing something back, and I cannot have tomatoes. So that was such a staple. That was such a staple of my diet. And the things that I couldn't have with it. I miss tomatoes on a regular salad. I really just miss cherry tomatoes. And what can I do? Well, I grow basil. So I started looking for other recipes. So I tried a pesto recipe. And then you were telling me about, my doctor said to add walnuts to my diet. So we were tweaking a couple of things. I don't like walnuts. And you said, well, try it. Just try them. You gave me a candied walnut recipe. And I thought, yeah, okay, I could choke these down. They're not that bad. But then I saw a recipe for walnuts in pesto, and I didn't realize you could change. Now I see all the variables. You don't even need basil. You green and a nut. I don't need cheese. And Agatha, I made a pasta and I did pesto, but I used the walnuts, and it gives it that cheesy creaminess that I'm missing because I can't have cheese. And you were like, awesome. And now I have 2 more staple recipes that I've built back into my cooking, what I like to cook. So that was pretty cool. I never thought I would do that. I resisted that. I'm just going to eat nothing. I'm going to breathe air and drink water. That's going to be it, because I got very miserable.
There was nothing she was going to be able to eat.
I can't eat anything.
And I
chill cardboard. Yeah, I was not a fun person to be around at all. At all.
I saw in you all that you are that could be as soon as we remove the 10-ton load of stress, you know. And we have actually, so now that I think about it, we've done together a liver cleanse, leaky gut, foods to benefit your gut and healing leaky gut.
Yep.
We've done SIBO together, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, if you don't know what that is. So we've done the liver cleanse, we're boosting your magnesium, we've done leaky gut, not diet, I don't want to say diet, but
helping me with gluten-free, because I had to learn a lot of new words.
Yeah, helping with gluten-free, new recipes, elimination diet, one would call it, which is the removal of all of the triggers. I never said we have to do an elimination diet. You have to get rid of X, Y. I never said it that way. I have a different approach, right? So it was like, we're adding in all of these, and look at this pyramid of beautiful foods, and all of this foundation is, let's build from here. So it was, that's my approach. But we did elimination diet. We've done 6 or 7, from a professional perspective, 6 or 7 things throughout the 7 months together. And the weight loss, again, was aside. I tied in the Ayurvedic, how much to eat.
Yes.
And when to eat for optimal, health, and to really work with the Ayurvedic time zones. Yeah. And, my gosh, we've done all of that, but we're going on kind of long, which is, we're so good. So many beautiful things to say. Let's the last question here. And then I'll see if anyone has questions. I'll have to switch my screen. I'm not looking at the right screen. No, I think we're good. We are actually live. Yeah, good. It's actually
because this kind of feels like a regular session. So
it feels like a regular session, yeah, which is good. I'm going to use Zoom in the future because the Facebook thing didn't really, the dashboard didn't look like the one on the video that I watched. Okay, so last question. So we've talked about, where you were before starting. So just where you were before starting. If you had any specific goals, we've talked about your experience through sessions with me. We've talked about your results, and we've talked about all the positives that have come through us working together and where you are now. And mind you, she's still continuing with sessions. So she's achieved so much and she's continuing with sessions. Why are you tell people why are you continuing with sessions?
Because I've learned very, very simply to trust the process. Mm-hmm. Because you have given me the right to feel everything, go through everything, react to everything in my way, and it's never offended you, bothered you, upset you enough that you go, yeah, you're crazy, I can't deal with this. Mm-hmm. You've just supported me. And the biggest change was switching to bi-weekly. So I only talk to you twice a month now. I still send you my food diary and I ask you questions, but I only talk to you twice a month now. And the reason is because I feel like my journey is not, it's still going. So I am halfway through what's the new word? What's the new word? The doctor is a functional. Yes, I'm learning new words. I've learned lots of new words this year. So the functional doctor, we're halfway through. So I still have, I'm so much better. In order to keep getting better, I need to stay on this path. So what I envision is we're halfway through the treatment process. When I finish the treatment process, what's next? And then what in my head, what I see doing with you, Agatha, is sort of sealing those behaviors and setting it up, like moving out of, I would like time to work with you as a nutritionist when everything is at a level, because you've got me through you've supported me to get to this point where I've gone from so ill to now I feel like I need to set up, now I actually have a weight loss goal. this was just the beginning. I need to go a little further. I need to make an exercise program part of my daily life. Now I'm not as scared about going outside and getting stung by something. So that might be something that maybe I can go back to an exercise class or go to yoga classes on a regular. That's important to me, that you didn't just talk about food, you talked about my whole life. You looked at me as a whole person who was struggling in quite a lot of things. And then as each thing got either sorted or worked on, or the right therapy was applied, now I need to make sure that I solidify what I've learned so I can take it all the way forward, not just sort of stop and go, well, I'm just going to repeat this behavior, being more mindful, being in tune to that doesn't feel right. Let me adjust. What I ate a bit late. I didn't get enough sleep. Let me step back and make sure I go to bed tonight and get a good night rest. Or my late night work is coming up. Let me be prepared for that. It's solidifying now the one steps that I've taken to make this my actual lifestyle that isn't thought about. This is who I am. This is how I am. And I think that's the part that we're going to work on for the next little bit. So, and because I'd be crazy to let you go at this point, because look where I am.
Thank you. I think it speaks volumes to your commitment to yourself. You're out of the red, but your life and your health have become so optimized. It's like a flip from December. It's so different. It
is.
At least 180, if not almost 360. You guys, it's even as her skin. I don't always see her weight loss because she's it's a Zoom call.
You get to see,
she told me on I know she was zipping up, but it's in such a difference in her health and optimizing her health and optimizing her life. And we're out of the red now, but I love that you've committed to this is feeling good. It's like what I'm hearing is this is feeling good. I need this to go for life. I don't want this to just be for just now. We're out of the red. Let's concrete cement this, commit to yourself as you go into the maintenance of great health, and for a lifetime. What I teach is for a lifetime. So nothing is like something that you've only done for, 21 days and then it's over. It's really a lifetime way. And it's good to have that co-creative partner and that stable, positive, knowledgeable person, I feel, to skillfully guide you into this next phase. You're going into a whole new chapter. And, this is it's really beautiful. I love seeing your progress. We have so much fun in sessions. I feel like we're laughing, we're connecting. I feel, it's so beautiful, and we do have fun. It's really fun. So I'm glad. I'm so honored to be a part of your continued success. Because
thank you.
Just yeah.
And I have to say, the times that we've started and I've looked at you and you're like, tell me what's going on. And I feel miserable. It's just and not so much now. Lately, I can't remember the last time I was, or I would just sit there and you go, oh, your face is swollen again. I go, because I couldn't speak properly. And at the end of the sessions where I was feeling bad, I have an aha moment and I'm smiling and I'm like, that was good. I'm going to go make a really good meal so that I'm prepared for tomorrow. And I've got my stuff. It's that energy that has kept me going. And I really, really appreciate it, because now I can look back and realize that I think people come into your life for a reason. And I think you need to get to a place before you recognize that. I've learned now to appreciate that what I have. And I also need you for a while longer, because my purpose at this point in my life is to be the healthiest I can be, so I am not a burden to the people who love me. I don't need them. I don't need to watch them worry about me like they have been. I owe it to them to be as healthy as I can be so they can be happy, because this has been stressful. It's been a long haul. And it just dawned on me that when this is done right, you actually can get out of a job, because like, hey, yeah, okay, go and do what I taught you.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I miss my clients, but it's the method that I teach. It's sustainable. I want to set you up. I want to set you up so that you're happy, healthy, happy being healthy, not sad about some kind of diet that you were forced to put on, or some kind of exercise you don't really want to do, or that you're happy and sustainable. I want to see you succeed for life. Even if that means that my income from you is no longer coming in, it's part of the actual the best gift to give somebody is that they are now they're the highest, best version of themselves, and they know how to do that for life.
Yes.
They know how to continue their success, and they know how to live and have that lifestyle where food is wonderful and it's a joy, and it's not a stressor to be what I can't eat when I go to the store, and there's that sustainability. So there's a lot to it. So yeah, I'm out of a job when you when things are really good, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I think that the problem with the diet culture is it's an economic cycle that I feel just sort of leaves everybody wounded, and they go back into the same hamster wheel, back into the hamster wheel, and back into the hamster wheel. I don't do the hamster wheel. It's not a part of my integrity. I don't have that it wouldn't align with who I am. So yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one question. So what thoughts can you share to the group here about investing in yourself? Like if someone said, I don't really want to spend the money on sessions. So, it's, what would you say to somebody who says, I don't really want to spend the money on sessions. I can do it myself. Or, I don't want to spend the money, and they're on the fence, and it's really an investment in yourself. I often, I keep talking, I asked you a question. I'll just say, I often do feel that I do get an income and I feel really good about it, but I feel like the investment is really, I feel that you get so much more, than I think you even bargained for. And that's not ego speaking. It's not my ego. I'm not bragging on myself here. I'm definitely would be bragging on God because he gave me these gifts, but I just want to say, like that, it's not coming from ego there, it's coming from heart, but I do feel that people leave with so much more. But what would you say to somebody who, they're on the fence, they don't want to spend the money, working with me? What would you say?
Money is important. The cost of things are important. I think if you look at your life and you're not happy where you are, I would ask you, well, if what you've done before hasn't worked, then would that be enough of a at least try? At least try, because I appreciate that different people are at different points in their life and require different things. But if you're to a point where you're not happy, if what you've tried before hasn't worked, you really don't have anything to lose but try. And I think that's where I was. I hadn't found the right circumstances that actually supported me. It was the 30-day diet, you'll be fine. Great, I've lost weight, and I'm going to go right back to the same everything, the same way I shop, the same way I eat. None of my lifestyle changed, because it is so much more than the food you eat. It's why you eat that food, when you eat that food, what you're thinking, how your day has gone can impact you if you didn't rest enough. Something as simple as drinking enough water, being hydrated. And I always thought I drank enough water. Never drank enough water. And it is surprisingly easy to add more liquid to your day. I think as an investment, if you looked at it as that, truly an investment in yourself is actually priceless. And that actually sounds commercially. And I know that if I hadn't spent money I wouldn't be here. And that's on everything. I need to actually buy organic food. I need to be mindful of what I buy and where my shopping dollars go. But I've also needed to go to other doctors and buy other medicines and vitamins. Having you as the nutritionist support has made a difference. So it's been priceless. And that's not to say it hasn't had a cost. It's had a cost, but it's the dollar value on my life. And I kind of wish we had a before picture, but I was not a healthy, happy person 7 months ago. And it went before that, because it took like 4 months. Sorry, my chickens are telling me it's time to feed them. They're at the window. It took like 4 months before. It was, a series of things to get to the point where I turned to you. And I think at that point, money was not what I was thinking about. I think trusting the process and deciding to take a course of action that is different from what you've tried before that hasn't stayed with you.
It might even be the last time that you ever have to look into this and spend money on this. You know what I mean? Because of the way I teach.
I didn't think about this. I just thought about the, wait, we're talking you out of a job with me. So hang on a second. I need to keep you here for a little bit longer. But yeah, it may actually be, this investment could be the most priceless one, because it's the one that actually is going to stay with me. Like, you can't regret, because you can't go back and change things. But imagine if I'd have met you in my 20s. You wouldn't have been born. But if I was 20 doing this, then my lifestyle would be set up. Now I would have taught my children differently. I would have raised them differently. Their dad might have been healthier. So there's other things that, and you can't go back and change anything, but I can do what I can do now because I know better.
That's profound. Yeah, I don't know anyone who goes, I wish I did that diet in my 20s, right? Or, because this is a whole different thing. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and being so open and vulnerable to, sharing your truth and what it was like, and all of your optimism. And I mean, you could see the health and happiness just radiating from you. So it is like such a joy to see. And you guys, like, I wish we did have a before picture, because just, how dis-ease had sort of showed up on all her face, and oh my goodness, yeah. So yeah, and your eyes are lit up, and oh yeah, it's really great to see. It's so beautiful, and I've loved working with you. And again, like I said, I look forward to being part of your continued success. I enjoy it, and yeah, thank you so much. So I think we'll wrap up. It's 12:56, so we've spent some time. There's going to be this will be available as a replay, so the lives stay on the Facebook page, and you can play it again anytime. I think it just stays on as a replay video, as a video people can play again later. So if anybody has missed out because of the timing today, you can watch it again on the Facebook Live, on the Facebook page for Fueled Bermuda. And yeah, sorry about the technical problems early on. It threw me off a bit, but I think now we've figured it out. Thank you so much, Rhonda. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me. And you knew how big a thing that was to ask me. And I get that I'm not in a room full of people, but still the anxiety of, I'm going to get on and talk to you. No, this is what we do. This is private. But no, it's important because you've helped me. And I feel it's important that any one person that just is suffering, that needs or wants to make a change, that it can be done. And the overwhelming part of it just gets shed, and we all should be happy and healthy. That's the least we should be as humans. And the connection of reaching out to people and helping somebody who maybe isn't feeling that is worth it. It's very important. So thanks for talking to me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rhonda. That was so beautiful. All right, guys. So I'm going to have to try to figure out how to turn this off. Thank you so much.
I don't know what to do, so I'm going to sit here and just like smile at you while the chickens are picking at the window.
All right. Well, I'll let you go, and then you can feed the chickens, and then I will here. All right. So do you know how to log off of this one, where we are?
I haven't got a clue. Let me put my glasses on so I can actually see what I'm doing.
Well, I can do it. I can do it from here. So I think we're good. All right.
Okay.
So we'll say our final goodbye. Bye. Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Agatha.
Thank you,
Bye.
Rhonda. Bye.
Bye.